Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay, on this exciting Monday of trading. I stayed awake.
Happy
How about you?
Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. Yeah, I did as well. It was a pretty good trading day. Some good opportunities out there. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, the Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6. Coach Paul, they're saying your audio is delayed but clear. I don't know if you want to try leaving and coming back in.
All right, I'll do that. I'll be back.
All right, I'll be back. He'll be back. Coach Paul will be back. That is Coach Paul. He is my co-host through all this, my co-pilot. Ton of years of trading experience. He'll be back to tell us all about it. And let us know how you guys did in the chat. You're all our audience. Let us know how you did today. Shout out to Coach Ray in the chat. What is up, Coach Ray? Good to see you here. Coach Ray, I want to talk to you. We haven't talked in a little while, but I'm going to send you a message when we get off of here. Talk to you about some stuff. Bobby T in the chat says you haven't been having a great time in the live account. Bobby, I know you're a great short trader. There haven't been many short opportunities in these markets, so maybe that might be it. That could be it. Kevin plus 300 on the day. Dan Trader positive day. Stuff. Dan always number 1 in the chat. Kung Fu is green. GDL, good day. First green day in a while. First day in a while, it felt easy. Trading feels easy. All right, let's try it again, Coach Paul.
All right, checking.
Oh, yeah. Checking. Now we're good.
Okay.
We are good to go. All right, Coach, let's do your intro, and then we'll get right into these markets.
All right, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Let's get right into these markets. Go over to the Trader Hub. We didn't have much as far as planned news goes today. We know some of the bigger data is coming out later in the week. Tomorrow with CPI. Wednesday we have PPI, and then of course Thursday with the jobless claims and retail sales numbers. Friday we do have Michigan sentiment. So a data-heavy end of the week. Pretty quiet here, but again, the markets are never quiet. News is never quiet when the T word is looming around the corner. So we did have over the weekend some escalations in the tariff saga. President Trump adding a 30% tariff on Canada and Mexico, 2 of our biggest trade partners. And that saw a gap down to start the markets for the day, starting the session last night. Anything else you have on the news, Coach Paul?
Yeah, this tariff, not surprisingly, is creating some chaos. But I think the CPI and PPI are going to be big numbers. The other news event or headlines is the sparring between the president and his administration and the Fed Chair Powell. I think that's going to add a little drama to the CPI and PPI. Not predicting what's going to happen with those numbers, but it's just going to create more drama. And I think that's going to affect the treasuries. So tomorrow is CPI.
Tomorrow CPI, Wednesday is PPI.
Yeah. So let's brace for that. Otherwise, it's the real every day, depending on what tweet comes out, be prepared. Have your stops in when you enter the market.
Go. 35 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we had crude oil down 2.28%, heating oil down 2.67%, and platinum, Joseph G. Platinum down 3.55%. Micro Bitcoin futures up 1.31%, corn up 1.52%, and natural gas up 4.19%. We already talked about crude oil in our big four down 2.26%. We had the S&P up 0.14%, gold down 0.31%, and the NASDAQ up 0.31% to round out our big four. I did have a NASDAQ trade today that someone did ask me why I took that trade. So we will go over that one. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ on a daily really quick. What are we looking at here on the daily, Coach Paul?
Not much. To be honest, it's more sideways action. Bit friendly, but still onward and upward. I think this market is waiting for these two numbers, CPI and PPI. Other than that, a pretty slow day there. I wouldn't want to over analyze it. How about you?
So pretty much a range day. We're still in range. High to low, we had what was pretty close to a daily ATR day. But this to me feels extremely bullish. Just with the way it's been trading, we see these 2 down days, then we get 2 up days. I'm looking for the potential to take out an all-time high here. It looked like we had the potential to do it today, but we didn't. 23,112 is that all-time high. Maybe we need a catalyst. Can anyone think of a catalyst that could potentially move us to all-time highs? Is there a catalyst on the calendar anybody could think of has the potential to move us to all-time highs? Shout it out in the chat if you think of one. But let's go down to a shorter time frame. Let's take a look. There you go, Kevin. CPI, right? That inflation data has the potential for volatility right now. Does that volatility mean upside? It doesn't. But it has the potential to get us moving. They're bullet traders with the real answer. A Trump tweet could definitely get us moving to those all-time highs for sure. Rate cuts. See, these are good catalysts. Kevin G.
That would definitely be one.
All-time high with your blood pressure, maybe, Kevin G. So be careful. Be careful with that one. All right. So we had the gap down last night. On the 30-minute chart, we had a gap down, and what we've been seeing, Coach Paul, with these gap downs is, the gap happens, and that's the opportunity to buy the dip, right? That gap down in the NASDAQ on the 30-minute chart, 22,802 was the low, made the low of the day. We did not take out that low. We've been seeing these gaps if you look at the last 5 or 6 weeks, when we open with a Sunday gap down, it is just a buy opportunity. Coach Ray said it in the chat, buy the dip, and I think that was off of the first 3-minute candle.
Yep.
That could be a scary trade to take right there because gap down, we know tariff news, but this is a market that is still in an uptrend. And what can break it? I think we've been asking that question a lot, and so far it's shown that nothing can. Since we've been told in April to buy, every dip has been bought. Now, for a day trade, how do we trade that? Shout out to MP. He said he bought the S&Ps on this gap down. He said gaps get filled and made about $1,500 doing that. But that has been the trade. Anything you want to talk about in the overnight session, Coach Paul? Or do we want to go right to the New York session?
No, that overnight gap, it's a thing now.
Yep.
I saw a couple headlines about it, and it works. And he said it can be a scary trade, but if you're willing to take the risk, it doesn't make a new low or 2 ATRs. I mean, I didn't take it, but I mean, there's a good reason to take it. But you're going to have to take some risk. And you know what? Look at that. It came back and tested it later on to the tick.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Maybe the second time is the charm, but you said we're still in an uptrend. Stocks are doing what they're designed to do, and that's to grind higher. Even if you sold it, I mean, it took a long time to confirm. So it's kind of sloppy. Look at how little volume came in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, so if there was some real trauma in the equities, you would see volume come in on Sunday night, follow through volume, which means
Yep.
bigger entities don't want to wait till the morning. They want out now. And we didn't see that DNA. As a matter of fact, there was no volume. I mean, it was pathetic, actually.
Yep.
So good rally, but when we said it's grinding, none of it is easy.
Right.
The easy part is to buy it, put your stop in, put your risk in, go back to sleep or go out, eat, go do something. Don't watch.
Right. All right. So let's go to the New York session open. Here's the first 3-minute open. Opening range looked like a pretty good short initially. Volume didn't necessarily leave that range as aggressively as we would like it to. But in the first 9 minutes or so, we did see volume leave that range. Looked like a pretty good short. I don't know if you guys were watching this open closely, but it was strange, right? It looked like the market was going to push up, and then almost instantly, some big offers came in. Looks like they actually just went right to market, sold about 1,500 contracts, and that ended up being why I bought the market when I eventually did. But we had, initial sell off. The market looked like it was going to dump, but we came right back down to that opening candle and bounced from there. We can see when we got down there, heavy candles into that level. What does volume do? Kind of stops, flattens out a little bit, and really quick bounce. So nice short opportunity, almost 100 points to the downside in a very short amount of time. But like Coach Paul said, if there's no follow through volume to that downside, this is a buy the dip market for what we've been seeing. I'm getting a thunderstorm over here, so if I lose power, guys, fingers crossed that I don't. But we bounced right off of that opening price and came right back up. Now I want to go over the trades that I took a little bit. You may have heard me say during fast markets why I took these trades, so I'll just go over these quick and then we'll move on to other markets. All right, so on a shorter time frame, there are where are we at? All right, so I'm just going to mark out where those sellers came in this morning. And the first one right here. And the second one was right here. All right, so two pretty big sell orders that came in, hit the market to the sell side, right? Like I do everything else, you guys, I use volume for everything else. I'm attaching VWAP to both of those where those heavy sellers came in, right? We can go back out to a time chart. Pretty close to that, New York session opening range as well. When we got back above this, I'm looking at these prices where that seller came in, and I'm saying once price gets above where they are, I'm expecting them to have to cover that position. Right now, that doesn't mean I want to get in here, but I want to see them I want to see them give up price. Right. So big seller came in there initially. I did get long from 22,923. Ended up taking this trade off for 5 points because when we pushed back up to the low of that opening range and where those sellers came in, Coach Paul, they kept rejecting price for a little while. So I took the trade off for a scratch or for 5 points and said, let's see them give up price first and then I want to get in. So what we need to see, price get above that, close above it. I'm assuming that if they were short selling to open, they had to cover that position, and then on the pullback is where I'm looking to get in to a long, right? Because then now that seller is no longer defending that price. VWAP test, Pi, I know you said you took this trade, really nice trade here. My entry was a little bit late here. I entered at 22,960, but again, these sellers let price trade through their zone. So I'm assuming that they are, kind of giving up this spot here. Otherwise, they would continue to sell. So 22,960 was the first entry. We trade up and then we pull back, and here's where 22,960, I have a trade that's 20 points in the profit. This pullback here where we now are holding the high of where that selling came in is why I added the second contract and then looking for 23,000s as the target. So not a whole lot there. Selling came in, they didn't hold the position down. VWAP started to flatten out after this sell-off that we saw and then trend higher. This gives me confirmation that buyers are supporting this market. Ideally, my entry is down here, but That's okay. How much room do you think is left in the move, and can you still take it? And was a pretty good trade from there. Now, it was one that I could have held all day, but could have, would have, should have. I'm going to take profits as they see. Ideally, what the target was on this trade was we took out the overnight low. Sorry, we took out Friday's low already. The target on the trade was Friday's high. That's the ultimate target. If you guys watch me trade, I'm usually not going to hold a full position to the full target, just the way I manage positions, and I'll trail in and out. I probably trailed just a little bit too tight on that trade, but I'm not going to harp on it. I think overall, I probably could have gotten 100 points out of that trade, and I got 50, right? So I got 50% of the overall move, and with the way I trail, I'm okay with that. Some people are going to say, hey, set your price, set a target, and let it go. Coach Ray said, tip the doorman, 100%. Where, I've had times where I set a profit target and the market turns around a couple ticks away from that profit target and stops me out. So I've just decided to manage my trades that way. Target was the big psych level 23,000. That's a good target for it as well, right? And we can see what we did and why I don't hate that 23,000 target, because look at what the market did once we traded 23,000. We had an hour and 15 minutes, maybe almost 2 hours, hour and a half in a 30-point range in the NASDAQ. Now, I want to sell into strength. The market's moving, so I'm taking my profits, because otherwise I have to sit in that trade for another 2 hours before we get any favorable price action. And there's no guarantee that we continue higher here. So I'm going to take the money off the table and go from there. Anything else you have on the equities?
Look at the biggest volume was on the opening, and it was buying by far. And then we had that sell-off. Oh, it wasn't a clean J trade. That sell volume was quick. It was almost like they were testing, or it was weak buying from the opening. Either way, it wasn't the exact J trade. You could take away that that new low. There wasn't much volume when it wicked, but as soon as we closed above it,
yep,
that was buying.
it's a good sign. Yeah.
And relatively, with that huge buying on the opening, it seems to me that was just they stopped buying. Some algo tested it, found out it wasn't carrying through. That happens.
Yep.
So that was well set up, because I sold that first breakout because it broke out of the opening range.
Yep.
But I cut it off, and I didn't wait to get stopped out when I saw that.
Nice. It's good out. Yeah, initially that was a great sell, right? It looked like I said, like we said, it looked like it was going to push, and then a ton of volume came into the sell side, pushed the market down almost immediately. So, nice quick trade to the downside. But I think this kind of just repeats what we've been saying a little bit. It's a buy the dip market, and shorts are kind of see profit, take profit right now. Where it's a I don't want to say harder, but the opportunities to make money to the short side in these markets are kind of few and far between right now. But they're there. 100 points in 9 minutes. I'll take that. Anything else you have on the equities, Coach?
Let's look at Rusty.
Take a look at the Russell on the daily.
Went right to the 200 moving average and to the
Close
tick.
to it.
Holding a sideways action, still holding. There's a good buy, the dip. So let's look at the half an hour. Now, that low was right near the 200 moving average. Went there twice. We priced out of the opening range, but that was before the open. That was in London?
This is London Open right here. London Open there.
So when the London Open and bigger volume came, it just started. Just went straight up. With a good percentage time to fill the gap. It was a nice trade, even before the opening. on the half hour.
Yep.
And another thing, that was their price at the 200, right near the 200-day moving average. Nice rally. We closed above the 200 on the half hours. This looks like it's doing its job on catch up. Rusty looks like it buy the dip still easier than just about everything else.
Russell up 0.57% on the day. Filled the gap as well. All of these equity markets kind of doing similar things. Take a look real quick at the Dow. All the same picture here, right? Dow, S&P, the Russell, all filling that gap, all back above the 200 moving average on the 30-minute. Again, that CPI data tomorrow is going to affect all of these markets. So, it's either do we make new all-time highs in the NASDAQ and the S&P, or do we sell back off into this range? That is what I'll be looking for going into tomorrow. All right. Anything else you got on the Russell, Coach Paul, or on the
That's
equities? All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold on a daily. The market that is in range, but providing a ton of opportunity. If you can catch it at the extremes of the range, or maybe not even at the extremes. We'll talk about the house opening range trade that they held all day. What are we looking at here on the daily, Coach Paul?
Boy, look at the 20-day and the 50-day.
Yeah, there is a 3-point difference between the 20 and the 50-day moving average.
So more that is about as much balance as we've seen in gold in long, maybe a year or two. With that said, in front of CPI and PPI, this market, I believe, is just on a trigger here to make a big move.
Yeah.
If that 20 crosses under the 50,
bye-bye. Bye-bye gold.
Huh?
I said bye-bye gold. Is that it?
Yeah, sell gold.
Yeah. I meant bye-bye this way. Wave bye-bye.
Yeah.
Coach Ray says he agrees as well. Everybody's buying digital gold now. It's the cool thing to do. So you sell the physical and buy digital. But yeah, if this crosses here, which very well could happen tomorrow.
Yeah. So that number is these numbers are going to be big for gold. They said it's getting tired. But there's been great trading in, intraday. So let's go and see what happened on the opening.
Here is the open last night. Little different story here. Equities gapped down, gold gapped up. But we can see same thing here. That gap was the extreme for the day. We did take it out, but look at that volume. Let me change this back to red. But that VWAP never left the range, at least to the upside. It left to the downside later on in the session. But in a market, and then when you take the full context in the picture, this is a hard buy up here. Even with that gap up, that's a hard market to buy, because on the daily, and this is why we review the daily so much, it hasn't gone anywhere, right? So what is the likelihood that, and would a tariff headline do it? It probably will, right? Eventually a tariff headline or something is going to move these markets out of this range. But what we saw over the weekend just wasn't enough to get this market going and reject and come right back into the range. The opening range, let's take a look at the 1-minute opening range that Hogue and JD look at every day. Guys, take this opening range trade. Again, one of the most mechanical trades that we'll see on TopstepTV. 1-minute opening range starting at 7:20 Central Time. And they identify the high and the low of that first minute. They're going to short below it, long above it, triggered a short. And at this point, their job is to manage the trade. This is when we start looking for targets and potential areas for that market to go. But the entry is probably the most simple trade that you can take, Coach Paul. And I really love that trade for that reason. We can add confluences into here. VWAP eventually leaves. We can see a test of VWAP and rejection again. A really nice sell-off here.
Yeah, and I think the same thing happened in London. Where it all
Yep.
started was in London. It's almost the same trade. Once again, we're starting to see liquidation. Um, I mean, uh, gap open. We're on the day. By the way, platinum hit pretty hard too. But CPI and PPI are going to be really big for the gold market. Remains to be seen. Nice trade by Hogue and JD. Like I said, it's a low risk trade.
Yep. Yeah, low risk.
Um,
They lowered the risk even more. JD, we were in the green room, and JD's like, "All right, we're trading minis this week," and then it was a pretty big opening range, right? This was a 4.5 point opening range. JD's like, "All right, we're going down to micros," but I think either way, whatever size you trade, the management of the trade is most important. Like you just said it, Coach Paul. It's a low probability trade, which means that you're going to take more losses than you take wins just by the nature of the trade. And we've seen them take, 5 losing days in a row. But on a day like today, where that opening range set the high for the session, uh, it's important to kind of let the trade work out, uh, however much it's going to. Right? You can take some profits along the way. You can scale in and scale out. But if you're taking a 1-to-1 on that trade, you win one day and then the next 9 days you take a loser, it's not profitable over the long period of time. So I think, and JD didn't close that trade until power hour. uh P&L high at the low of the move was about 20 points, and I think he took it for 15, and that's the way that you need to take those trades. uh, Otherwise the numbers don't make sense.
yes, and when you did, I know you said it, low probability. So when
Yep.
which is low, when you're taking low risk, low probability, you need to have it play out in multiples, more like 4-to-1 and 5-to-1.
100%. 100%. There's a question from Alan Barber in the chat. What time does gold close? So the close in gold is at 12:30 Central Time. Is that correct?
Yes, 12:30 Central Time.
12:30 Central Time. So that is right here. This is our closing candle right there. You can see all that volume that came in on that last minute. But it can still trade afterwards. We've talked about this trade a couple times before,
Yes, yeah.
but you look at that closing candle, which is this one on a 5 minute. That up. There may still be some opportunity here. So pretty nice short, but 12:30 Central Time is that
How
close.
much did it break? I mean, that's a nice break from.
Yeah, it's almost 10 points. 8.5
So
points.
again, it's very heavy.
Yep.
So with this thing, it's just closed. And remember, gold is literally, the gold cash market is always open and it never closes. But the futures and the COMEX gold, New York gold, is just part of a world gold trade. I found it interesting that we had a short covering rally into the close. So daytime, short-term traders going to even up. And as soon as that stopped, we went back trending lower. We can also think of it as an imbalance being carried forward. That imbalance being sellers. That kind of action is, if I'm long, I'm not. If I'm long cash gold, I'm concerned. Like, it just doesn't have that buoyancy it had before.
Not at all. Not at all. Speaking of buoyancy, talk about a market that is making all-time highs, continuing to make all-time highs. High in micro Bitcoin futures, the contract that we can trade 123,610. Where is this market going? We drew the moon. I think I cleared my
Yeah,
charts, but it was somewhere up there. Need to lock that
150.
drawing. Yeah, I put it up at 150. Let's put it back there. Put our friend the moon back up there. Lock that guy so he doesn't move. The locked it. Okay.
There you go.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Micro Bitcoin, Coach Paul. It's a contract that you talked about a ton. What are we seeing here on the daily? And did we just potentially see a blow off top?
Well, well, there's always that potential on all-time highs,
Mm,
but I would say you would need twice that volume. It has to be dramatic volume.
yep.
Well, it's heavy volume. Today's low would be one of the signs. And we're not near it. We could see it today, but I don't. This is a clean rally. Um, Although, you got to keep both sides. Bitcoin is infamous for being convinced, but I look at this chart and I don't see a blow off top yet. First thing I would look at is close below today's low. So we'll see
Today's
that.
low, one. Got to wrap my mind around
Yeah.
quoting Bitcoin prices. 118,600. 118,600. Today's low. Let's take a look at a half an hour chart here. Gap open, of course. There are no real gaps in Bitcoin because it trades 24/7. But we're trading the futures product here, so we can trade it 23.5. Right? Is that right? 23.6.
Yeah. Almost like the opposite of gold.
Right. Right. But gap up and continue. And there are no real gaps. The spot Bitcoin was making new all-time highs. See, once that volume left that range, find a place to buy it.
I can make an argument that you're liquidating gold to buy Bitcoin.
Hey, if one of these assets is going to potentially what some people say 5x in the next couple of years, maybe 2x in the next year, why not?
No, it's just that action. The gap up, both gap up. One holds it and goes to all-time high. The other breaks $30, $40. I mean, if we turn that upside down, that chart looks like the gold chart. So I found that very kind of stunning. Very interesting.
Yep.
But I don't see the top here yet. And plus here, it's very hard to short Bitcoin. Unless you're
Agreed.
trading futures. And that's still a lot of buying volume. Still looks good. Buy the dip.
Buy the dip. Yamil says, y'all here all day with it. Go enjoy the summer. Yamil, we have plans to enjoy the summer. I definitely got away from my desk after fast markets today. It just seems like we're here all the time. But also, how do you know? Actually, this was not even the open. I marked out the wrong open. Here it was the open. Marked out the wrong one. Either way, goes up. Same story. Yamil, how do you know we're here all day? You weren't in the chat. How does that work? Yamil, I've seen you in the chat all day, so you're here too. Hopefully you're enjoying the sun on a walk or something like that and just tuning in. We appreciate you being here. And for everyone, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. But Yamil is right. Make sure you spend some time outside when you can.
Absolutely.
Also want to give a shout out to Mystical Orb Trader. Reached payout today for my first payout ever. Congratulations on your first payout.
Congratulations.
Making it real, putting real money in your pockets. And Coach, we got a question in the chat. Heather asked, can we explain what a blow off top is?
Classic one. Let's go to the copper.
That's where we're going. Let's take a look at copper. The last one was better. Yep. Yeah, this one was a lot better.
All right.
26.
Let's remove everything. Go move to the right so when that high comes, you can see we see this big rally here. All-time highs for copper. And we had this volume doesn't do it justice. This isn't a
let's go to a 30-minute chart.
This isn't a continuation chart, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. But let's go down to a shorter time frame. I'm going to go to a 30-minute chart, and we'll go to that day was March 26th.
All right. So we have this dramatic rally that day, extreme, quadruple the average volume at all-time highs, and it stops going up.
Yep.
Now, earlier I said watch that low. Because that low, how a blow off top happens is most likely some entity had to liquidate. Like they didn't have a choice. The brokerage firm or the losses, they didn't have the money to keep short. And this market is already rallying, and probably some of the bigger players know someone's stuck. So when they get liquidated, and if it's a forced liquidation, the brokerage firm or the bank or whoever their clearing firm isn't going to bid it up. They just go get out, like market orders. And then you see this thrust in price and thrust in volume, and then it stops. That low, if we close below that low, that's a blow off top. That's the confirmation.
And from that point, we just sold off in copper. You can see what happened over the next couple of days. We did come back up to it, but here's that range on a daily, 20% move to the downside. So forced liquidation, I think what happens there as well, Coach Paul, is that it's kind of interesting that that's the lows of the session in copper over the past couple of days. But what happens is there are buyers that need to buy. Maybe they don't want to, but they have to through that liquidation move. And because they needed to buy, right, they might not be buying to open a position there. They don't really care for it to go higher. They had to get out because they were liquidated. Right now, we are seeing maybe some convinced buyers up here where we're closing above these prices and holding it as a support. But these new buyers here, what are going to continue to push us to all-time highs. You need some buyers to hold and support the market, or somebody else get liquidated. You keep pushing
it's
there.
interesting. On the first one to blow off top, there was no big news.
Correct.
There's no news, so it's internal. It's someone stuck.
Right.
We used to have a saying in the pit, "Oh, you're stuck? Oh, stay stuck." Someone's stuck, and they're not, and it's an entity. It's going to go until they get out. All right.
Yep.
So if you're stuck and it's an entity, thanks. That's great information. I'm going to buy it against you until you get out. That was a thing. It was pretty high probability.
Flip that chart over. It's kind of the same idea. Once we close.
No, it's the same idea. Now this one, could we have another blow off top?
It's holding.
It's holding.
It's holding. Right? We'd have to close. We'd have to close below this candle.
We'd have to close below the candle, or the tariffs come off.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Good point there, Coach Paul. The headline created this candle. So what would cause price to come back through it is that headline no longer being out there, right? We removed those tariffs, like you said. So really good point there. All right, we got a request let's take a look at crude oil real quick, and then we will go to the ultra bonds. And then if there are any other markets you want to talk about, Coach Paul, let's definitely do that. Let's take a look at crude on a daily. I thought we were gonna go. And today was a great example of the market doesn't give a shit what you think.
No.
Opening up today, I thought we were going to go trade up to 50% of this candle. Market says you could not be more wrong. And that's okay. I didn't buy it. So I saved myself some money. What are we looking at here, Coach Paul?
Balanced market.
Yep.
Like you said, it had the flavor, but it slowed down at those highs where that wick happened. And it didn't close above the 20-day moving average. Some entity wants to keep this lower, and we rally gets sold.
Yep.
On light volume. Not only key, we're talking about the light volume. So let's see. Let's look at what happened last night.
Here is last night's open. First 30 minutes, we really didn't do much. This kind of goes back to your point, Coach Paul, of London being the market that gets volume going. Maybe not even looking at crude oil unless there's something, a headline or something that comes out right at the open. We could see Asia markets really did not trade crude at all. We were in a, what is this, a 20 tick range. But when that volume comes in for London, we start to get going a little bit. Looked like a decent long. And maybe this is what I was looking at this morning when I said this is a decent buy.
Yeah. Was it 2-1?
Let's see. The close didn't happen till up here. Maybe a late entry on that. Maybe if you got it on a shorter time frame, if we go down to like a 3 minute or something like that, here's that close. No, still not a 2-1. Got a 1-1.
So this is what, and then what does it tell you about crude? It's pliable. It's really, really kind of hard to trade when the market is balanced on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So, the buy low, sell high, which is relative term. But let's look at what happened after London. And maybe we have this, we're rallying, make highs in the day. But what happened when we got under VWAP? VWAP took off out of the range.
Yes, it did. VWAP took off. We bounced off of that range. And London held it for a little while. And then we closed below VWAP. We're coming into the New York session open. And another opening range breakout trade where, and Hogue mentioned this, there are times, and I think the guys kind of realized, right, or they call it out all the time, when the market is in range and in balance, that opening range trade probably isn't as good of a trade. Crude oil was opening outside of Friday's range. Right? So it had the opportunity to push, and Hogue, I remember Hogue saying on opening call, hey, there's a real opportunity here. Because we were out of balance, the market couldn't find buyers. Topstep just said it in the chat. Bad sellers become good buyers. Bad buyers become good sellers in this market. Everyone who bought above that VWAP, Coach Paul, if they were buying to open a position, probably the first to sell when we got back below that VWAP, and helped us move lower here.
Also, let's look at let's mark that 20-day moving average.
20-day?
The 20-day. Remember, we haven't.
Yes. Yep.
We can't get above that. It's been a sticking point.
It is at 68.04.
So we have this push on light volume, really. We need some heavier volume to push it higher. There's no one, we talk about stuck. There's no one stuck in crude oil.
The market's stuck.
The market's stuck. There isn't an entity. When the market's stuck, it's in balance. Very interesting. Look at the volume on the open.
Another one where they were looking to trade minis, but a 50 tick opening range. That's a lot of risk. So they scaled down, took it with micros, but yeah, huge opening range. Ton of volume.
Yeah, it was in big volume, which left the range right away. And it continued. And then we see another big sell.
With decent follow through on both of these, right? A lot of times we're looking at those candles for the potential reversal, but high volume does not have to mean reversal. It can continue to sell.
And it did. Let's see if it does the opposite tomorrow. My feeling is the market is it's yo-yoing.
Yep. Another nice hold. Another nice hold there by JD and Hogue. Again, JD did not close that trade until power hour. Crude is actually still making new lows as we're talking right now.
Yeah, nice
trade there as well.
Trade.
All right. Any other markets you want to go over, Coach Paul? We got 2 requests. We got ultra bonds and natural gas.
While we're at energies, we'll start with energies.
Go to natural gas on a daily. What are we looking at here? Nat gas had, I think it was the biggest percentage mover of the day. Was that right? Correct. Up 4.13% on the day in natural gas. What are we looking at here on a daily?
Correctional rally. We're still under the 200, under the 20, under the 50. We've been having a dramatic break for the last couple of weeks. Some relief action, but still heavy. We did get almost a J trade. Did we? Yeah. So Friday, did we close above that? Still, it looks like a relief rally from massive selling. Let's look at the half hour. Did we gap higher? Yeah.
We always do on Sunday, either gap higher or gap lower on the
Yep.
opens on natural gas, and we did gap higher today.
Tough trade.
Yeah, this is a tough trade.
But look what happened on Friday. We got above the 200. We closed above the 200. Did we fill the gap? Very close to it. If we no, halfway into it. Boy, I don't have much to say there. It's above the 200. But look at how fast that selling comes back off those highs.
Yeah.
Is that the New York Open?
So Coach Ray just said nice opening range trade today in natural gas, looking at that same crude oil opening time. Man, here it is. Yeah. I think really this market looks like, what time did you want to trade it? Because that kind of dictated your trade. It sold off, it rallied, it sold off, it rallied. What time were you at your desk trading? Because nice two-sided trade. Maybe you wait for that opening, the same opening as crude, and you had a pretty nice trade there, right? If you just ignored everything that happened prior to it, opening range breakout, and that was the low for the session.
Yeah, it's another one that was balanced trade. One thing in natural gas, don't be stubborn. And it goes back to our find a trade that you can execute consistently. And here's we talk bears make money, bulls make money, pigs get slaughtered.
Yep.
I just using this right here is we just said there was opportunity, a few different opportunities. But if you get stubborn, especially in natural gas, it'll bury you.
Yeah, for sure. You could be short natural gas. You look at the quote board and it's up 10%. What the hell happened? That's how that market moves. So yeah, except when you're wrong.
And another thing is overnight, natural gas does very light volume.
Yep.
So if waiting for that open, all right, and look what happened on the opening. Going back on the opening, goes in to test that gap. Can't fill it, and then goes the other way. Gap on the daily. So nice, good opportunity there. Kind of tough. I haven't been watching it much lately, but it does on Sunday nights brings opportunity. It never just opens unchanged.
Right. No, it never does. It's if you expect a gap somewhere, expect it to be a natural gas because that is every. Take a look at the ultra bonds really quick. This was a request from Khadijah. Let's take a look at the ultra bonds. We looked at this last week, towards the end of the week, rejecting at that 20 moving average on the daily and continuing to sell. We broke that Friday low. What are we seeing here on the daily, Coach Paul? Market that looks very heavy.
very heavy. And it broke in front of CPI and PPI. You would expect it to at least trade sideways. And it really didn't break hard.
Mhm.
It traded both, but I mean, it closed 8 lower, a quarter of a point.
I
But
think
it's
definitely a
under
market to watch for
20.
tomorrow.
Yeah, do not get in front of this market. Bonds will move a point most likely on the first minute. There is a lot going on in the bonds right now. Tariffs, record deficits, drama with the Fed chairman being pushed out. Who's he going to be replaced by? A yes man? I mean, there's a whirlwind of big events, but overall, this trend is very negative, and looks like it has a higher probability of continuing lower. The 20 and the 50 are getting close here. So something I'm bearish, but if that crosses, when's the last time we crossed?
The 20 and the 50 moving average on the 30-minute. Last time we
Yeah.
crossed was up here. That was July 11th, a couple of days ago. We crossed below 20, crossed below the 50.
All right.
Kind of mixed. On the daily, we have the 20 above the 50. So not that long ago.
But it's rejecting.
Yep.
I still like trading it to the downside, but don't do anything in front of either of those numbers. This market is waiting.
Yep.
But it will be used as an argument that you should have cut rates. You know, kind of like as a trader, why'd you take that trade at loss? Well,
Right.
I didn't take it because I knew I was going to lose.
Right. If I could only
Well,
take my winners,
yeah.
I love you guys in chat, but we would not be here if I only took winners.
So
On an island somewhere.
let's look at, there's also a little drama going on between short-term and long-term rates. Let's take a look at the 5-year. And the daily, it's on the daily. It's above the 200, below the 20 at the 50. And why do I want to look at that? Because the Fed can control short-term rates with Fed actions. It cannot, as much as it would like to, control 30-year bonds. And this is causing a little headache for the Fed. What is it? 30-year bonds have to be bought by institutions and usually other countries. We've heard it: China, Japan, Great Britain. In this trade war, say Japan says, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to be involved in, or we're going to cut back our auction. What's going to happen? The debt is going to have to be serviced one way or the other.
Yep.
So to attract some investors, yields have to go higher. When yields go higher, Treasury futures go lower. Now, in the 30 years, that's purely supply, not purely, but it's heavily supply and demand. It was the greatest and safest place for institutions and countries to place their money. That is being questioned, and that's why that we're seeing this dramatic divergence.
Yeah.
So we'll keep up on that, but This looks like a different chart than the 30-year.
It does. But one more time, we'll take a look at the 30-year chart before we get out of here. We are at time. I just realized.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks a little bit different on the daily. We're at time here, Coach Paul. Anything you have before we go? Anything you want to say before we go? Any other markets you want to look at? I think we answered all the
No,
questions.
but we went through. Hey, tomorrow is CPI. Next day is PPI. You've heard us say it before. Do yourself. Don't trade in front of it.
Yep.
Market makers, some of them don't trade in front of it, or they severely limit their bids and offers, and liquidity gets constrained. Let them figure it out. Make your trades after. Highly recommended. That's it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach Paul. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Remember, Coach Hoop has a class coming up in Discord in about 15 minutes. And we have Coach Ray and Coach Vince after that, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be on Slow Markets with Coach Dakota tonight. We're going to be talking about, Bobby, I see you're in the chat. You said it was hard to trade and work a job at the same time. Coach Dakota and I are going to be talking about that a little bit tonight for Slow Markets. Then we have Aaron with the London Open, 1:30 a.m. Central Time. D with the Euro Trade, 3:30 a.m. Central Time. And we'll be back for the opening call at 7:20 a.m. Central. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Trade well, manage your risk. Like Coach Paul just said, you do not have to trade in that CPI number. You do not have to guess where the market's going to go. You can let the dust settle, take your opportunities from there. Whatever you do, manage your risk, and we will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.